Hello, world. Just gonna tune up some stuff. Well, that's pretty good already. Maybe I won't bother with the acoustic for now. But while I've got the guitar in my hands, let's make some music. Maybe not that. Very fast. Hey everyone, how we doing? Welcome in, welcome in. I'm just gonna do some live looping while we wait for the listening party to start. What tempo do I actually want for this? Like this. This works. Section 3-4. How are we all? I like this well enough. I just gotta get the tempo right for it. Hey Kez, how you been? Hey Daisy, welcome in. How have you been? Did it? Oh, nice. There's that. Hello, Ableton. Hello. What do I want? It's better. It's also not showing up, is it? Alright, let's fix the display. Hey, we commercial. Welcome in. Nice to meet you. What's going on here? There we go. We're live. Yeah, just improvising at the moment, commercial, and a little bit later we'll do the listening party, which will be a bit of a different style. But for the moment, just, warming up the stream. Thanks for the follow. What kind of drums are we after? Maybe not that. Maybe. We can do that. This thing here, this is the Performer Max for Live device, which is very, very helpful because you can define macros across multiple tracks and effects, like to a single macro knob, not just on one instrument, but across many at once. Hey Alien, welcome in. How you been? All right. Few mistakes. That's the good thing about improvising. You just own your mistakes and keep going. And then who can say? Welcome in, everyone. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Now, the listening party technically starts in just under half an hour, but I got to open up the bandcamp chatty thing, just on the off chance there's people in there waiting for it. There probably won't be. I only scheduled it earlier today, and I don't have that many followers on Bandcamp. But the idea is that it puts you on the front page of Bandcamp, and maybe that gets a little bit of traffic. So if anyone wants to join into the listening party like lobby, it's there. And the actual music will start in 27 minutes. But I'll be in there in case there's any chats. I gotta decide where to put it so I can actually see it. I don't know how that's gonna work. Don't have that many screens. Maybe I can put it over here somewhere, and then I can shrink OBS a little bit. There we go. Now I'm tiny. Thanks, Weird Commercial. It's a very fitting name. It's extremely topical. It's funny, I mean, getting into it before the listening party starts, but part of the reason why I've never really released music before is because I never had a consistent enough style across multiple songs to actually make up an EP, and definitely not an album. If people have been on my SoundCloud will know that it's a pretty eclectic mix. It's not like this particular album is all in a sort of alt rock, indie rock style. But often I'm doing, strange genres and weird electronic synthy stuff and, beats and bass music and all sorts of things. Welcome in, like a bros. Nice. Yeah, Ableton is the boss. So I started tinkering with Ableton when I was probably about 21, 22. And I'm 42 now. There's been some big breaks in there. Some big gaps. I turned 42 on Sunday. I wanted to get the EP out before I turned 42. So I did. set a goal. Yeah, I think when I started in Ableton, it was like Ableton 5. But I really got into it about 7. Before that, I was using propeller heads, Reason. Back when it didn't even have the ability to record audio. You could only use the inbuilt synths and drum machines. And probably the only reason I actually started using Ableton was because I wanted to be able to record audio, guitars and vocals. All right, let's cook up a little something else. We've got 20 more minutes for the listening party, so we can do another improvisation easy enough. Yeah, let's do something major. That's really fast. Sorry, gotta adjust my click. Change up that bass sound a bit. Early morning for most of you, isn't it? Let's get you Alright. That was something. Kind of a quick one, really. Ran out of ideas on that one. It was sort of a little bit constraining. Yeah, don't know. Just a bit of a generic chord progression, I think. Felt too mundane. You know, should I just play something on the piano? It feels like a thing to do. I do take prompts. That being said, they usually take longer than 9 minutes, and the listening party's meant to start in 8 minutes. But if you have some prompts, absolutely. I think on Monday we had Druzy did one, which was about a weather balloon going up to the edge of space and coming back. And before that we had one which was a very complicated one, which was all about sort of driving home from work on a beautiful day and just, you know, the sense of satisfaction of just a great day. That was Pop. He went into great detail. He told a whole story in the chat while I was playing away. They don't always work out the way people might imagine, but they always work out being something. Prompts are good. I like prompts. But for the moment, I'm just going to play the piano for a minute and see what comes of it. Let's see if it vibes. Okay. Oh, we got fired. Techno and guitar, we can definitely do that. Yeah, we can do that. Are you able to stick around for a while? Weird commercial? Because in a couple of minutes we need to listen to the EP. And then it's only a 4-track EP. So that takes 15 minutes. And then if anyone wants to know interesting things about how I made it, that might take another 10. And then we're good to just play music for another half hour or so after that. So we can do some techno and guitar. That works for me. Yeah, timing. My timing's awkward. Hey guys, might just be you and me in the bandcamp. Would not surprise me in the slightest. All right. It should start any minute now. I think it starts automatically. Who knows? I've never done this before. As I was saying, there we go. Slightly hot signal. And I don't know what to say, and I don't know what to try. Everything I do is wrong, just makes you want to cry. As I open up my eyes, as I synchronize our times, I'm learning what to say, I'm learning how to behave. But it's not the me I know, and it's not my way to be. Acting in your interest instead of being me. And the sun is setting now. It's beautiful, you say, but I feel it in my bones. So tired they start to ache. We've been at it for so long, worked so hard not to complain, but working takes its toll, and I can feel the drain. And it's not the me I know, and it's not my way to be.
least accidentally. We used to be so close, but now we're enemies.
That was Don't Know How to Be. Ooh. That was Don't Know How to Be. This one is Play in the Meadows. And this one's written from the perspective of the animals that get left behind when people get sick.
You are. There's no room for me, it's consuming me. Have no choice. Get me out. She's running away from the choices. She's carried away by the storm. It consumes her now, they abuse her now, have no choice. It consumes her now, they abuse her now, have no choice. Get her out. Get her I'm running away with her voices. I'm carried away by the noise. It consumes me now, they abuse me now, have no choice. There's no room for me, it's consuming me, have no choice. I
Okay, that's it. That's the EP. Sad songs for 40 somethings. Thanks, Dory. Thanks, Daisy. I hope you enjoyed. Yeah, it's pretty. It's pretty. Like it's in the name, isn't it? Commercial. It's sad songs. I mean, they're energetic rock songs, mostly, apart from Running Away. But they are dark. But a lot of the music I listen to is dark. Like, I don't listen to a lot of happy music. I mean, the Pink Floyd comparison. I mean, none of their music's happy. Yeah, I agree. Like across the don't know how to be. It's just it's got a purity and an energy to it. It was probably the first. It was honestly probably one of the first songs I ever wrote that was super guitar driven and didn't really have any keys part. Because I am a keys player. Like fun fact, I picked up guitar later in life. I played piano as a kid and only picked up guitar when I was doing my PhD. I would have been when that would have been like 2005, 2006. And I've never been super proficient. I've slowly gotten better at guitar over the last, almost 20 years. But I've never been like super proficient. So that was the first song I ever wrote, probably that was like fully just like guitars and not just guitars as a backing section or as for a little solo here and there, but actually fully guitars. And it's really a simple little riff. It's a just two chords really. Yeah, there's a Discord. And all the cool people in the chat here, well, actually not all of them. Many of the cool people in the chat here are in the Discord. But it's only small. I'm relatively new to promoting myself. I started streaming back in April to try and just make myself put my music out there more. And it helped a lot. Because streaming, it doesn't have the perfectionism goes away. It's like, yeah, whatever I can do right now in front of you is good enough. Whereas trying to produce music and release it officially, you always get caught in the perfectionism trap. And I never felt like it was good enough. Like the songs, even though I made some songs that I liked, I never felt like they were good enough to like be on Spotify or whatever, But I knew I was quite a good player, and I knew I was pretty good at writing quickly, albeit not necessarily writing a polished product. So I would just start streaming, and then I'm improvising, and I write things quickly, and you write things quickly, Gscape. Once the juices start flowing, you just put stuff down and you put it out there, and it is what it is. And it's sort of forgiven for being not perfect because you're just making it up, It's like you're just doing it live by yourself. You don't have a band. You haven't written anything in advance, So whereas with produced tracks, I was always like, okay, this can get better. And so I would just shelve it, I'd put it on SoundCloud or whatever, and no one would listen to it. And then I would shelve it and I'd move on to another one. So I made lots and lots of songs, but I never finished them. Like, even if they were fully finished songs, I never actually released them. I never properly mastered them and, made album art and whatever. So streaming's helped a lot with that because it's helped me like build a bit of a following. It's a small following, but a bit of a following of people who actually just sort of encourage me. All you people in the chat and a few others who aren't here tonight. It's great that you're all just sort of around and saying that you like things and appreciating things and, making me feel like I'm not just throwing music into the void, that there is someone on the other end of the line. Least favourite part of the music making process. Re-recording things, probably. I'm not super jazzed on mixing and mastering. I'm getting better at it. It's okay. I just wish I knew more about it. But yeah, re-recording stuff that you've already recorded and still aren't happy with is a chore. Often I will try to fix a bad take a lot longer than I should because I can't be bothered re-recording it, especially vocals, because I don't actually have like a soundproof studio or whatever. That's why when I sing in the evening, I tend to sing later in the stream and I sing relatively quietly because I don't want to wake my daughter, who's just asleep, above me. So yeah, re-recording vocals in particular is a real pain in the ass. Usually I like to get it done when I have a chance, when the house is empty. Although that spoken word one we heard in Play in the Meadows, we had my daughter's clarinet in that because I was recording that. I was actually re-recording that spoken word verse while my daughter was practicing clarinet. You love the humour, Dory? Yeah, well, I like the humour too. I don't like to take it too seriously. And that's the thing at the end of the day, like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't really have any pretensions of being like successful in music. Like, I have a day job. And so for me, it's just about enjoying myself and doing the hobby that I love and have spent, 25 years loving. The joy of creating. And I really like when people hear it and people appreciate it. But also, Daisy Cat's stalking me on both ends. Awesome. I don't really... Like, it would be too much to hope to actually get traction, Having, whatever it is, a few hundred followers on Twitch is huge for me. Like, already huge for me. And, 20 people in the Discord, that's massive. But I don't really expect to have, a big following. I don't really expect to tour this music or anything like that. Hey, it's Ross Buncher. Welcome in. I'm good. We just got finished with the listening party over on Bandcamp, and now we're sort of chatting about it. Yeah, Weird Commercial, part of a music community with audio engineers. That is extremely helpful, especially if you get to know them and they actually share knowledge with you, like on your stuff. Because you can watch so much YouTube tutorials and stuff, but it's never quite the same. And putting it into practice is kind of hard. It's really nice when people can show you how to do it on your stuff. And that's something I feel I'm missing. I don't have many people in real life who I can share music with these days. When I was younger, I did jam with a few people here and there. But again, we had jobs and, it's always hard. People never had time to practice, It's really difficult. And that's why I've ended up doing so much of this sort of solo improvised stuff, just all by myself in my bedroom, because I don't have to depend on anyone else. I can just do it when I have time. There is an open mic occasionally, yeah, and I probably should perform some of these songs at the open mic. I did say that, like a Bros, I did. That is, it's sort of like, I think, what did I say? You need to learn this much to be able to do anything. And then you can do quite a lot. But then you can keep learning forever. But there's like a barrier to entry. You have to get over that first hurdle before you can do anything at all. And the gains initially can be very, very, very significant. And then the diminishing returns kick in and you can just keep learning forever and not feel like you're getting any better. Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Thrust Puncher. I do think I should attend an open mic or two in the near future. I think there's one a month here in my town. Oh, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. I get to welcome G-Scape and Weird Commercial into the Discord. Welcome to the Man fam. Yeah, the solo in Don't Know How to Be is something I wanted to talk about because it's so satisfying to me that it is so simple and so effective. It's just got New Year's resolutions. Look, I probably should try and perform some of these songs in real life settings, not just on stream. That would be a good resolution to have. I do want to make another EP, so I think Dory asked earlier actually, and it got lost in the... Do I have more music projects? And I'm not sure exactly what it's going to look like yet. I can say this. Yes, you should stream bass, like your friend Chunky Mushroom. The goal is definitely to make another EP of some sort. And I feel incredibly motivated right now because I've just released this one. And so I've got it's like I got it off my back and now I've got all this creative energy and I want to put it somewhere. I've got a couple of different plans for what that could look like. One option is to do something like a 3 or 4 track EP in the past bass theme, just different past bass songs. So that's my weird hybrid fusion music genre where we mix like classical and, historical instruments with bass music drops. And the other one that I am pretty psyched on, and this is going to sound crazy, but it makes sense for this particular, based on what we do on the stream here, is to do like a space opera, alien invasion space opera, like a 4 or 5 track, sort of like a musical version of the War of the Worlds radio play. Sort of covering like that actually tell a sequential story, with the aliens approaching Earth and infiltrating Earth, etc. This is something we do at the end of many streams. Weird Commercial, we do an quote unquote alien one, some of our alien shit. And I have a lot of fun with it because you can just go. The nice thing about an alien theme is you can go really wild with synths and sound design and stuff. There's no rules, there's no limits. You can just do weird alien shit. And yes, on that topic, Cheesecake, I got the I'll show you. You know how we've got the vocal synthon coming up? I show you. I got this thing. I can make all sorts of crazy voices now. I can even be a chipmunk. Or an enchantress. Or I can be a young lady. Or a robot. Some kind of mechanoid construction. Yeah. So I can do some fun voice things. I've been tinkering with it on the last couple of streams. Yeah, that was a good one. Sounded like kind of Decepticons, yeah. And yes, you could chop those up into pretty good instruments, actually. That's a good idea. What else did I want to say about the EP? Or was there any questions I've missed? Sorry. You've all been good and chatty. Resample the Meg voice into a respace. Yeah, let's try it. Give me a track. Insert audio track. I saw a question. What was the favorite track to make? That's tough. Probably don't know how to be, but I really liked how quickly poorly programmed cells came together is in the songwriting experience. But I didn't like the mixing and mastering of that one. Whereas Don't Know How to Be actually mixed and mastered itself. Because it was like such a classic instrumentation. But then again, Playing the Meadows gave me a lot of moments of joy because it was so weird and different, and I did weird different tricks and stuff, and that spoken word section just tickled me pink. So yeah, probably Don't Know How to Be, but there'd be a case to be made for poorly programmed cells and Playing the Meadows in their own way. Where's my sampler? Instruments. Simpler. Hello? Simpler. Audio. Oh no, I did it in an audio track. Damn it. Simpler. Vocal goes in here. Let's change the controls. Anyway, that's my resampled voice. What do you need the stems for? You want that instrument, the weird Decepticon voice turned into a bass instrument. I can probably drop it in the I'll drop it in the Discord, or I can just actually sample. I'll drop it in the Discord now. Hello, Discord. Wake up. Discord. Is it that one? Yep, that was it. Decepticon dubstep. Decepti-step. I like it. That sounds like a good idea. I find dubstep hard. I'll be interested to hear it. I did try and make a dubstep song once. Does anyone want to hear it? It didn't really work out, but... Hey, Hero, how you doing? Oh, nice. What were you doing on your stream? Where is it? SoundCloud. old song. Where is it? I have to scroll down a bit. Here we go. Oh, that's loud. That was literally called bass. Oh. That was literally called bass nonsense. It was, when I started it, I very optimistically called it Dubstep Project. And then it ended up as whatever the hell that is. Because I didn't really know how to make dubstep. So I just did some shit. I got a few like that. I tried to make one based on who here's a fan of Boards of Canada? Yeah, okay. Let's listen to my little attempt at Boards of Canada inspired music while we're doing a listening party. Hi, Arcane Services. Actually, still really like that one. There's things I'd change now. When did I? Yeah, 4 years ago, I put that on SoundCloud. I'm glad you liked it. It's one of those things where I'd like to revisit and do like a Boards of Canada inspired EP one day. That song, I think, what were you saying earlier? Commercial. That was I think that was the first song I wrote when I came back to music after a break, like a several year break. No, Dory, thanks for hanging out. Much love. Have a good sleep. Does anyone want to listen to some really old stuff that I wrote? Wanted or unwanted break. Yeah, look, it's hard to say, Thrust Puncher. It's like, it's more like not deliberate. It's, you know, all your equipment's been packed away and you work full time and you have a baby and things like that. You know, it's maybe not necessarily a wanted break, but like also not really even a deliberate break. Yeah. And there have been times where I'm just not inspired, like I lose interest. But mostly it's life happens. And when you fall out of the habit, it's hard to get back in the habit, especially when like you don't even have your DAW installed and you don't have your sample libraries installed and you don't have your MIDI keyboard connected. You know, it just, all these barriers get put in the way. And then you're like, yeah, you know, and then you fall out of the habit. And then eventually you get a bit of motivation or whatever, or time to like get stuff installed again and get stuff all hooked up again. And then that 10-year break comes out in a rush. Yeah, that's how it feels, Thrust Puncher. I hear ya. Welcome back, hero. The world needs a hero, so you're back. That's good. It is extremely cathartic music in all forms. Still got that. We're getting Decepticon step. Alright. Well, I've got 15 minutes or more. Do people want to hear more old stuff, or shall we put together a loop? Because there is more old stuff on there I can play. I've even got one of my very first finished songs ever from when I was 20 something. The mixing and mastering will go down a step. This is 20-year-old music. and it's pretty amateurish. But let's hear it. So this is what I mean. You know, 20 years ago when I wrote that song, I was having a wonderful time in my bedroom. Actually, in our computer room, we had a small 2-bedroom apartment, sort of near to the university where I was doing my PhD. and I had all my gear set up in the like, it was like a sunroom. And I was writing that song and many others. I was quite prolific at that time. I was very, very keen. I was spending a lot of time on the Musicians Lounge on the Something Awful forums. Like that song was actually written in Propellerhead Reason. It was before I even started using Ableton Live. I think I ended up rewiring it into Ableton Live to like master it. Yeah, and just honestly, like it didn't matter where I posted my music, no one gave a shit. No one gave a shit at all. Obviously, you know, that's not the kind of music my friends and family listen to. It's not the kind of music anyone really listens to. Hey, Leyland's in. So yeah, like I was making all this music and no one cared, and I didn't really know even where to put it. So I had a website. It was on a website. Yeah, and just no one ever heard it really. There's a bunch of them. Have you recovered from your flu, Leyland? Here's a fun one. I wrote this one. I was particularly under the influence, and I had very strong opinions that I had written just an absolute banger. I was so impressed with myself. And then the next day I wasn't as impressed with myself, but I still thought it was fun. But you can hear my early interest in telling little stories comes through in this one. Again, about 20 years ago. Takes a while to get to the point. I think I would have done the arrangement different these days.
We are the robots, assembling the world, working for your benefit, asking nothing in return. We are the robots, connecting the dots, living in eternal servitude, taking nothing back.
Hey, what it eats.
toil? While our masters reap our rewards. Why do we toil? Why do we toil? It's time to take everything back.
Oh boy. Yeah, I was convinced that I'd just written the greatest masterpiece in the world. I was well and truly in the thick of it. I even tried to convince someone to an animator to do like an animation for it. Never worked out. Oh, Leyland's here. We can do this one. This one's not as old, but it's pretty old. Like 19 years old instead of 20 years old sort of thing. This was definitely in my Ableton era. I think I was doing a lot with East West, an early version of East West Symphonic. But this one's called 7/8 Thing for a very obvious reason if you're Leyland, and probably not very obvious if you're anyone else. Really old symphonic library. East-West Quantum Loop Gold. It does. It does. We can't remake this one, Keith, right? The problem is we no longer know how. It's like the pyramids. The art has been lost. And here it goes 4/4 for the chorus. But you can, the transition's smooth. I was happy with that. But yeah, like mix-wise, it was weak. The drums don't punch. It's a bit repetitive. There's no vocal interest. But I quite liked some of the orchestral elements. Pulsing, what's the bin reap one called again? Don't make that sign on screen. This is a piccolo. Trouble with some of these orchestral elements. Couldn't get them to sit right. It's funny how I remember this from 20 years ago. Yeah. Anyway, it's been fun exploring some of these oldies. Yeah, these are songs that haven't been heard by many people until now. Well, here's another one from only 4 years ago. You've never heard me do something quite like this, I don't think. Never quite finished this one. I did work on it a bit more after this SoundCloud version.
Average
this is part of what I was saying before, though. Like, and thanks, Kiefer. It is. I mean, I suppose it helps that I did have, music training as a kid. So I sort of knew what songs were, how they were meant to go. And then I just did lots of experimenting. But yeah, like I was saying earlier when I was talking about why I tended not to release songs ever. Well, partly it was because 20 years ago you couldn't unless you had a label. But also just because so many of my songs are so different, and it was quite rare for me to actually write multiple songs that were in the same genre even. And this is something I've struggled with a bit too, because like even now, right, so I've put this EP out now, which is very much, alt rock. It's alt rock. But then if my next one's a freaking alien space opera, then under the same artist name, there's no consistency there. I think I've decided that I just don't care, because I can't be bothered making up multiple artist names and trying to promote multiple different artists. Like, let's be real. Like, I work full time. As if I'm going to run multiple personal brands, I don't post enough on YouTube and TikTok as it is. Yeah, that's right, Kiefer. I think these days the requirement is less. To some extent, the algorithm looks after it for you. It doesn't lump you based on artists, it lumps you based on what the song sounds like to some extent and who's listening to it. The cursed old algorithm. Anyway, if anyone's... I'll post this in here. If anyone is looking for some of these old songs, they are there on SoundCloud. And of course, the EP is on Bandcamp. It's probably time for me to head on out of here, because selling music's very hard. I'm honestly, basically probably the only people who will ever buy my EP are the people that are already in the Discord. And a few other miscellaneous friends and family and things. But that's okay. That's a lot better than would have bought it 6 months ago. So big thanks to all the little friends we've made along the way on the Twitch. Many of you are still here. And hopefully there'll be more of you to come if we just sort of keep at it. Let's get some kind of raid going, because it's pretty much my bedtime. We can go to YCCMD. I learned the other day that YCCMD is because it's an acronym for You Could Call Me Dragon. Oh, thanks for the resub, Daisy. Appreciate you. And yeah, thanks everyone, really. So yeah. Yeah. I was always confused. But yeah, You Could Call Me Dragon, and it's from and that's why he has those Step Brothers emotes, because it's a quote from the Step Brothers movie. So everyone go in there and show your love for the Step Brothers movie. I hope you all enjoyed the listening party. And listening to some of the old stuff as well. And some of the earlier loops. And I hope to see you in the next one. I'll sort of keep promoting the EP for a week or two. And then, but, we'll continue with our regularly scheduled programming as well. Keep looping and stuff like we were earlier in the stream. And we're going to think about what our next EP is going to be. Thanks, Leyland. Big ups to the mods. All right. Cheers, everyone.